And I started to see over time what I felt like many homeschoolers were missing, which was good teaching. What I feel like has been missing just from education in general is there has been a loss of some of the fundamentals. There are fundamentals in how to think, how to be a human that we were never ever taught. I feel like there are many under-resourced homeschool moms.
Just imagine if every church on every corner had a school, what kind of transformation we would see out there in K-12 education.
Are you interested in innovative education and diversity in school models? Do you see a need for something different to bring about a reformation in our current education system? If so, then you've come to the right place. Join us as we discuss what's trending with unconventional learning models, including microschools, homeschool co-ops, creative learning centers, hybrid school models, and so much more. I am your host, Delina Wallace, president and founder of Wichita Innovative Schools and Educators, also known as WISE. This podcast, Wise and Otherwise, explores what our local hub of education entrepreneurs are doing in Wichita. We will also explore and offer brief introductions to the many local and national organizations that support innovation and education. Welcome to Wise and Otherwise.
Welcome back to another episode of Wise and Otherwise. Today, I am with Amy McVay. She is a homeschooling mom who has also started a co-op and is now starting a new endeavor in a hybrid school. Amy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Delina. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit. I just want to start, first of all, with your background as a homeschool mom. Tell me about your family, how many kids you have, and what your experience was like as a homeschooler.
Yes. Okay. I have a family, married to Sam for 35 years, and we have 9 children. And the 22nd grandchild is on the way,
Oh
which
my goodness.
incredible, that is homeschool math right there, like education, and we just were not prepared for it. But that is our story. 7 of our kids are married, and we have 2 left at home, soon to be 16 and 13. And so I began homeschooling at the very beginning. So my oldest son is about to be 35, so that long ago. And I was inspired twofold. One, environment. I was there were people in the neighborhood we were in that really brought home about friendships within the home, primary relationships within the home, not just with the parents, but with the siblings. That definitely touched my heart in a way. Then I just began to read about it. I read what books there were at the time, which 35 years ago, not nearly as many. And so I would say ultimately I thought this was the best option. We could have the best education. And I think it's important to note that, because that was my idea. But then you have the implementation, which is a separate thing. And so we have years and years then that go by of each child. As my 9 are starting to come up through the ranks, I'm like, I'm going to get it right. I'm going to get it perfect with the next one. I'm going to get it perfect with the next one. And that's not going to happen, first of all. We now know that. But I was learning through that time what worked for me, what didn't work for me, and what my weaknesses were. And I started to see over time what I felt like many homeschoolers were missing, which was good teaching. Because moms are amazing, but we're limited, and we aren't master teachers in all of our subjects, even though we want to be. And I think that element wasn't there at the beginning. The thought of the value of teaching, like my husband Sam said, we leaned so much on the curriculum. The curriculum was going to do the job, and it can't do the job. It's coming alongside of us to do the job. So I started to have many years in. So I have the timing. So 11 years ago, I think it was, in 2014, I'm down to the last 2. I still have others that are making their way through, but I'm getting ready to start my last 2. And I start to, well, I'm going into how I got into Memoria Press, which is maybe I don't need to go there yet. Um, I get started and I fall in love with this new curriculum. And what I feel like it does is it brings together all the things I have learned. It fills in the gaps that I know I have as a mom that gets lost. And sometimes there's an idealism about what you think you can do at home. And so I have this moment that I love this, and I start this journey, and at the same time we start what I would call a play date co-op. There's no name to it. It's just a group of moms with me that their kids are the same age as my youngest kids, so they could all pretty much be my daughter. And we have 2 years of play day co-op, but I'm starting to learn about this new curriculum. And so after 2 years, we go into a little bit more official. And I don't even think we had named it Co-op 412 that first year. It took us a while to get there. But getting to the point of, I started to want to help moms learn to teach and to grow in their confidence. Like, you can do that. If you're going to do it, here's a little bit more that's required that I wish I would have known about.
Right. So you had been homeschooling all your kids so far, but then you kind of landed on Memoria Press. You came into that when you were still going to be starting with your youngest two.
Right.
And so had you been teaching a classical education before that point?
No. So my oldest kids, they have such an eclectic mix, and that helped some of them thrive and didn't help some of them thrive.
Yeah.
You know, we would do whatever it took. We did part-time public school. We did Christian school, little forays into that. But overall, it was homeschooling.
Okay. But a mix.
Yes.
Oh, mix. Yeah. Sounds familiar. That sounds like me a little bit. Yeah. So, okay. And so you started a homeschool co-op because you recognized a need in yourself. You saw, like, I have weaknesses, I have gaps here. And I know that moms want to teach well, but they might not feel prepared or equipped to.
Right.
And so then you started your co-op. And how many years was your co-op operating?
Well, we are still in it. This is our last year. So I told the moms it's such an awkward year because we are starting something new. So it is a bit like we're in hospice and midwife.
Yes.
The same.
Yes.
So, you know, the Lord is always teaching us something. And so there has been a lot for each of us to learn in that. For those that are going to on and those that are going to do something different, we still are walking together. Which is a blessing and a strengthening of things that we didn't know need strengthened. But yeah.
Okay. And the name of your new school. So again, you're in Wichita, if I haven't mentioned that yet to our listeners, but you are starting a school. It's called Highlands Latin School of Wichita. And this is connected. You're using the Memoria Press curriculum. Yeah. And this is it sort of like a franchise? Is this like a chain of schools?
Called it's a trademark school is what they call it. So it's kind of like we come under that covering, and we have certain requirements that make us grow and be a little bit more excellent and organized than maybe we would be on our own, and training is involved with that. And that's how we have the Highlands Latin name.
Okay, great. And I love hearing about, like, your story in the background there that led to this endeavor, because you, again, you've had the experience of the homeschooling mom, you've had the experience of recognizing your needs, and then you've stepped in to offer support to other homeschooling moms. And then my understanding is that you wanted to kind of just step it up a little bit more. And instead of just 1 day a week, now you'll be offering some courses and teaching 2 days a week. Is that right?
Yes, we have decided to go all in. So it will be 2 full days a week for all the grades. And Yeah, over time, I started to feel the limits of the volunteer model. It was like such a great, beautiful model for us.
Yeah.
Like I have now gone through the full curriculum. We've done it so long. I know it so well. So that's such a gift to get to bring in with confidence. And many of the other moms have as well. And so, but now we get the opportunity to let moms who work part-time or want more time with their children at home, or maybe only want to send one or two children, not all of them. That hasn't been an option in the past. And so I'm excited for this new opportunity.
Yeah. And it sounds like with the price point, you have, because it's a part-time option, it's a hybrid thing, it's a lot more affordable and accessible than it would be otherwise if you had decided to do 5 days a week, like a traditional private classical Christian school. We have those in town, but this is something different. And I just always appreciate creativity and people thinking outside of the box and thinking, okay, and me personally, I don't necessarily want all my kids to be attending 5 days a week at a school elsewhere. I love having my younger ones, especially have all 4 of my younger ones still home and homeschooling, but we do a mix of things. We do the hybrid stuff and we hire teachers to teach certain subjects and we have our co-op days. So I think that just really infuses a homeschool family with some life and energy and some extra community and support. So tell me a little bit what your days will look like and or just the school model overall.
Thanks again for listening to this episode of Wise and Otherwise. We'd like to ask you to take a minute and please rate and review our podcast so that others can learn more about us and just to continue to show your support for this work that we're doing. It would mean so much. So please, if you're on Spotify or Apple or YouTube, take a minute and give us a good review.
Yeah. Well, we are more traditional. It's definitely a teacher-led experience with a set curriculum path. And so I would say we were talking how there is such a revolution happening with education right now. You are such a part. And it's so exciting. Like, I really do love seeing all the different models and micro schools that are popping up everywhere, because just like in the church, praying for unity, I feel like if our heart is more and more that for education, whether you're on the public side or on this new burgeoning private school, micro school popping up, like our hearts often at its root are the same. And so I do love all of the different models, but what I feel like has been missing just from education in general is there has been a loss of some of the fundamentals. So like in the middle of this revolution, I do see there being a restoration of the important fundamentals that have been lost over time, which I didn't receive. My years of education, this classical education that was built on the Greeks, the Romans, and then you add in the Christian element, and it's the history of the Jews and Christ coming in at that time. That was not included. There are fundamentals in how to think, how to be a human that we were never ever taught, and that used to be standard teaching. It taught about virtue, courage. That has been in many ways taken out. And so that's the lane that we're in, that I'm. So it is very traditional. We will have uniforms. We will be 2 full days. We learn Latin, literature, math. Math is something new we're bringing in that we haven't covered at the co-op. So that's very exciting. Science, and then our history is called Classical and Modern Studies. So together we're covering the old and the new, which is just my philosophy. Like, let's take the best of what our fathers did, and let's take the best so we don't have to relearn everything and throw out. I love what has been proven over time is what is bad about what is the old. I can pull up some of the old and it has been proven this, and this is bad. And I can know that because over time it has been proven. But what is good has also been proven. and our kids can learn to divide that out. And that's really exciting. So now when something new comes and everybody's all excited about it, well, has it been proven? And they learn to look for that. And so,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this is okay. So a classical curriculum, classical Christian school. What I love and what I want to share this vision with more of our listeners is the unique partnership that you have with your church in
Oh,
this. So
yes.
tell me a little bit about how this came about, because I know your school is going to be located within the Benton Church, right?
Right. That is
Okay, so tell me, did you approach your pastor about this, and how did you work out the details, and what does that look like?
Well, I would just say this is a provision that God brought, and my friend Jessica just simply reached out to Justin. I had seen that church over and over, and I thought, what an ideal place that would be, because we used to meet in El Dorado.
Uh-huh.
The church there was incredibly gracious to us, but they had a fire, and we couldn't start this past year. And so it led us into this moment where we had to find a spot. And so she just simply called, and they have been, I mean, unbelievable. So open, so welcoming. They do definitely see it as a ministry, and it's something they have wanted. And so
Wow.
I definitely feel the partnership at that place, and I am so thankful for it.
So it's not your home church then?
No, it was neither of our home church. I
Wow.
found out later that church had supported my brother, who is a crusade missionary, for years and years, but I didn't.
Oh,
And
oh my goodness.
so that was really fun.
Okay, so this is just a church that neither of you are members of, but it had an ideal location.
Mhm.
Are any of the congregants attending your school or enrolled so far?
Not yet. We will have our first. I'm going to share this next week, and I'll invite them to the open
Yeah.
house and all of that. So hopefully.
Yeah. This is so exciting. So I always love to hear of new schools starting up. And this is brand new on the scene for the 2025-2026 school year, partnering with a local church who supports you, and they're letting you use the space. And did you say are they covering like the custodial fees, or is that what they're charging you, the custodial fees?
Yeah, they're just covering the church being open. And
Yeah.
their heart is just a partner. So
That's so great. I had an interview a little while ago, and it was a certain mom looking for churches in her community that she could use, the space that she could use so that they could do some homeschool classes together. And it was so difficult. And she was just getting door after door just shut. And so, of course, with my ministry with the Hero Project is to encourage churches to somehow get involved. We don't all need to be opening our doors and hosting a school, even though just imagine if they were. Just imagine if every church on every corner had a school, what kind of transformation we would see out there in K-12 education. But even if that is not the call for every single church and pastor, how can they support you? So you have a location, but then there's other ways, like churches can get behind you and offering scholarships for students to attend your school, or help support you financially as you're operating, right?
yes, and we are set up where we can receive donations. Our structure is such that we can, and I would say that's a big part of my heart as well, which is why we were a co-op as long as we were, is because this education, just like Josh Dyson, wanting to bring this classical education to the under-resourced and underserved.
Yeah.
I feel like there are many under-resourced homeschool moms,
Oh, yes.
because
Yes.
they made this choice, and I know for a fact that is true. And
Yep.
so that is definitely something that I am hoping for, to have a fund for that, to help anybody that wants this education to be able to have access to it.
Right. Absolutely. That leads me to I like to ask all of our guests as they're on, what are your thoughts about school choice opportunities in Kansas? And as you're going to be starting a new school, do you know of families who could use the resources and the funds if they were able to, for example, keep their tax dollars, and that money would be able to be applied to the school of their choice? What are your thoughts about school choice in general in Kansas?
Yes, in general, I am very much for it. I see where it's happening other places, and schools that I know of are being benefited by that, and families are being benefited. I most definitely know families that would be. And so I hold it where I do. I live in a community with many poor people that absolutely don't have a choice. At the same time, the public schools in many of these underserved areas, many of the teachers in the underserved areas are so full of heart and purpose that I feel like I hold all of that together. And I don't know if there's a one path forward, but this seems like part of it. And so I am for that.
Yeah, it's exciting. Okay, well, Amy, is there anything else you would like to share with our listeners?
I think that is about it. They can get more information on our website, which I'm sure maybe you will post.
Yes, but please share it with us, and your contact info if they'd like to reach out.
Yes. Oh, one more thing to say. I am not doing it by myself. I have a partner named Lizzie Brickley, who is going to be co-directing this with me. She has been with me from the very beginning. So our kids have gone all through this together. There are so many other moms that have been such an integral part. So I just want to make that so clear. So my Wichita at highlandslatin.org.
Okay.
Email. And the website is highlandslatin.org/Wichita. And that just gives a general idea about how it works, who we are. Eventually more will be up, like our tuition will be posted on there. Our schedule will be posted on there. We have several open houses coming up, as well as the micro school fair. And so
yay, I'm excited. I'm excited. Here's a little plug. I don't know. It's maybe too late. Yeah, it's probably too late. Our micro school fair is going to be February 22nd. And I think that this podcast will come out after that. But anyways, it's great. We'll see you there.
Okay. Awesome.
Thanks, Amy.
Okay. Bye-bye.